education discussion. I have the Speakeasy Hut up and everything, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into that. And I want to just thank you again for coming. This is a great turnout. I'm impressed. Thank you. So hello, I'm Jennifer Vandiver, and I'm a doctoral candidate at Capella University. Today I'm going to talk to you about my dissertation topic, educators' experiences integrating Second Life into higher education. Whoops, back that up. My slide advanced way too fast. I've created an agenda slide to summarize what I will be sharing with you today. Again, I do need to tell you that this research is part of my doctoral education program at Capella University. I am pursuing my doctoral degree in educational psychology. My research was approved by the Capella University Institutional Review Board. Oops, I forgot to click. Sorry, guys. On March 11th, 2022. During the presentation, I will explain what I have found in my research on education within Second Life. This will include what is known, what is not known, and the gaps within the research. Next, I'll describe my foundational theory for the research, social constructivism, and why I feel that this is a good fit for both the research and education in Second Life. My research is a qualitative case study design with embedded units. I will describe this form of research briefly and then explain how I will collect data to help better understand how educators integrate the use of Second Life into higher education. At the end of the presentation, interested participants may click on the wooden easel on the stage for more information about signing up for the research. You may also contact me directly using the instant messaging tool. I have been an active resident within Second Life for nearly 9 years. WillowEstar is my research avatar, and she's used solely for that purpose. I have other avatars that are used for socializing and learning within Second Life. In 2013, as an undergraduate student, I took a philosophy of art course in Second Life. I was very curious about the setup of the course and loved the ability to customize my avatar. The main setback of the course was it was never clear how the curriculum itself merged with the virtual world. Students were provided landmarks for museums and art events, but they were confused on how it all fit together. So being the nerd that I am, I began researching on how educators could improve a student's experience in Second Life, and that led me to a really great book. The book was called A Practical Guide to Using Second Life in Higher Education by Maggie Saban Baden. After reading Maggie's book, I thought to myself, what great ideas she had, but also how difficult and time-consuming it must be to acquire, create, and incorporate Second Life into higher education curriculum. Keeping Maggie's book in mind, I began research on Second Life and higher education. Second Life is coming up on its 19th birthday. When it first debuted, it was merely intended to be a social media platform where like-minded individuals could meet and collaborate. Educational research into the use of Second Life as a virtual learning tool began nearly from the day it became available to residents. The majority of this research occurred between 2006 and 2010, focusing on integrating it into pre-established curriculum. After 2010, research began to wane on the use of Second Life in education. This did not mean that educators had abandoned the idea, only that some changes have been made at the corporate level, making it more difficult for educators to teach and to conduct research. Of the research conducted the first few years, researchers found that Second Life has been used for anything from veterinary science to preparing students for professional careers. Today, the possibility of integrating game-like elements into virtual worlds such as Second Life has begun to rekindle research interest. It's believed that the two together may be the answer to burnout and disinterested students. I think let me see. Okay, my thing on the HUD is not matching up. Let me check real quick, sorry. Okay, so research on Second Life has found that it may enhance student learning outcomes. It can increase knowledge transfer, encourage peer collaboration, and foster curiosity and creativity. There is also great interest in using Second Life in place of impractical real-world situations to create simulated life experiences. Examples of these experiences include labor and delivery complications, emergency trauma patients, enactment of environmental crises, or in-home health care practice. The healthcare industry is not the only sector interested in Second Life for education purposes. Other research has found that Second Life is very useful for teaching art, economics, veterinary science, fashion, and computer design, as well as language development. We have research on pilot studies, conceptual theories, and how to start up an educational group within Second Life, but not much on best practices, supporting foundational theories, or successes and failures experienced by educators. I view Second Life as a blank canvas. This canvas is brought to life by the residents that reside here. In the education sector, we have devoted educators who have been creating masterpieces for years, and yet we do not know what best practices worked for them or what foundational theories they used to support their efforts. Knowing that these masterpieces exist and just have not found a voice inspired me to complete my dissertation on this topic. Okay. A main concern of teaching within Second Life is what educators are basing their curriculum upon. What foundational theory best supports learning in a virtual world? To date, the majority of research has either been a combination of theories or some versions of constructivism. Constructivism best represents Second Life due to the learning by doing component. A student begins to learn as soon as their avatar's feet hit the ground on Welcome Island. It's not only learning by doing, but also learning through previous experiences and through the help of fellow peers. All of this occurs before they even complete their first teleport to their in-world campus. For my research, I want to focus upon social constructivism because I believe that most every aspect of learning within Second Life relies upon some sort of social interaction. Whether that social interaction is learning how to build a simple box or to create an entire presentation, students are actively working together to get the final product. This slide shows the main components of social constructivism. Most importantly, it shows how I view social constructivism as a set of gears within a larger system. interested in how influential social constructivism is when it comes to teaching, creating, and collaborating in Second Life. This slide continues the theme of gears within a larger system, focusing more on Second Life itself. As you can see, much of what we already know about teaching in Second Life aligns with social constructivism. My slides have frozen up.
There you go. They're moving now.
Hmm. LV, do you have any idea why the slides would have stopped?
Um, they were actually moving.
Wow, is everyone else seeing the screens are gray? Hmm. Oh wow, something just happened. I think it scooted ahead. Let's see, let's go back. Hang on. There we go. Now, let me try it this way. I see the first one, but I click and it's not, the HUD's not advancing. Oh, there we go. Now they moved a little bit. There's that one. There's that one. There we go. Now we're on the right slide. Sorry about that, everybody. So on slide 10, let me see if my HUD is up to date with you guys. Okay. So the HUD on the side in the chat's not going to match up now. It's all wacky. But on slide 10, where the two sets of gears have a gap between them. This gap is the main focus of my dissertation research. How do we bridge the gap between theory and medium? Or how can we prove that Second Life is a useful and efficient virtual learning tool in higher education? Okay. And then it should, there we go. All right, so the answer is you. The opinion, struggles, and successes you have encountered while creating and teaching in Second Life, you are what fills this gap. By describing in detail educators' experiences while teaching in Second Life, we can begin to outline best practices and what theories are most often used. Once best practices and foundational theories may be identified, educators may bring Second Life proudly to their institutions and show the necessary support for its use in higher education. Just to clarify though, my research is seeking out educators' experiences integrating Second Life into their higher education courses. I'm not attempting to identify a foundational theory or set of best practices. However, my research will help guide the identification of these for future researchers. So this slide contains more specific information on my dissertation research. Oops, back up. Make sure I'm lining up, sorry. I will be conducting a qualitative single case study that contains 3 embedded units. The overall case is higher education in Second Life. The embedded units are the specific roles that educators may play while creating and teaching in World. The 3 embedded units include information technologists, instructional designers, instructors, and mentors and support staff. Let me catch up with my script there, make sure you're reading the same thing. I will collect data in 6 different ways. There's virtual interviews, virtual tours, physical artifacts, field notes, direct observations, and participant observations. The majority of data collection will occur during virtual interviews and tours. The virtual interviews should take no longer than 30 minutes of a participant's time. However, we all know that Second Life can be sketchy from time to time, so give or take a few minutes for that. The virtual interview should take place on the participant's sim or in a neutral space that allows for voice. And participants also have the option to choose a Zoom conference in the event they cannot connect via Second Life. The virtual tour should take place on the participant's educational sim, virtual campus, or virtual space. The virtual tour should not take any longer than 30 minutes of the participant's time. During this tour, the participant shall demonstrate any tools that were made to teach a higher education course. The participant will also explain how a student navigates the virtual space to attend classes. Basically, during the virtual tour, participants will treat me as a student during an orientations course. Physical artifacts may be any educational materials a participant may legally and ethically share. I also want to remind participants of intellectual property rights. Sometimes the lines can get blurry between what belongs to the participant and what belongs to the institution. Examples of physical artifacts may include course syllabi, activity worksheets, note card instructions, presentation HUDs, virtual campus building plans, or orientation note cards, etc. I'll also collect data using field notes. I have created a virtual learning tool observational protocol that records my impressions of the tools, the interview, tour, and the demonstrations. Direct observation includes the participant demonstrating the use of any virtual learning tools. This also includes any tools that may have been created to help control trolls and griefers. Participant observations focus more on the tour itself and how the participant interacts with objects, the researcher, and Second Life in general. Oops, back up. There we go. So why is this research important? Our current educational technology surpassed traditional teaching methods, that we are living in the 4th industrial revolution. Okay. The introduction of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, robots, nanomaterials, it's slowly changing the face of education. The unexpected response to the educational institutions were not ready, and as a result, the face of education is going to be changed. The Generation Z, or Zoomers, have different needs from faculty and educational institutions. Traditional course curriculum quickly causes disinterest and burnout in Generation Z. And although the concept of gamification has been around since 2010, more research is needed to identify the best practices. So in summary, Second Life has been shown to be a useful virtual education tool. In recent years, research on educators' experiences has been scarce. Those experiences are needed to help fuel further research into a set of best practices and theories for teaching in a virtual world. Newer generations of tech-savvy students require novel ways to learn to avoid disinterest and burnout. Educators need to share their experiences with Second Life so that we can find an effective way to sell it to our institutions. If you're interested in participating in my dissertation research, can you ask yourself the following questions? Are you at least 18 years of age? Do you work as an information technologist, instructor, instructional designer, or mentor and support staff? Do you currently or have currently used Second Life as a higher education tool? And do you have an avatar that's at least 4 years old? Also, there is a wooden easel on the stage right next to me that you may click on, and it will give you more information about my study and eligibility requirements. My slide did not advance, but there it goes. It went past it. Oh. There we go. So you'll be compensated for your valuable time and information. At the end of the virtual tour, all eligible participants will be paid 500 lindens. And I thank each and every one of you for your time. And if you're interested in my dissertation research, if you have any questions at all, you can contact me via instant message, email, or you can send me a note card. And I thank everyone for coming. I know there for a minute I kind of got ahead of my slides, but I did pretty good for somebody that was their first time. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, and if anybody's interested, you can click on the little easel and or send me a straight IM, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But wow, what a crowd. Thank you guys. That's really amazing.
Yes, I sent you a note card, so I hope I hear back from you. I put
Does
my
anybody have any
legacy name
questions
in.
for me before you head off to that cool parade? Yes, interactivity, it's hard to do that. And it's like you're talking to yourself half the time. I've seen that with Zoom, that my students, they're not supposed to, well, they have the option of turning their camera on, but most of the time they leave it off for privacy. And they really cannot work together the way they would like to. And in Second Life, they can do so much more than what Zoom does. Thank you, Buffy. Okay. Getting a lot of IMs. I'm going through here saying hi to everybody. Well, if you think of any questions after you've moved on and was checking out the rest of these fantastic presentations at the conference, just let me know. And LV has my information if you lose it or don't have it. But again, thank you everybody for coming. It was fantastic.